All right, let's dive into one of the biggest paradoxes in all of nature, the human brain. We always think of our intelligence as this incredible superpower, right? But what if I told you that from an evolutionary standpoint, it's not a gift, it's a gamble, a hugely expensive, high maintenance, and incredibly fragile piece of biological hardware. Today, we're going to break down the real cost of thinking.
So think about this for a second. Dinosaurs were, unbelievably successful. They dominated this planet for more than 100 million years. And in all that time, not a single one of them ever figured out how to build a fire? Then there's us. We show up, and in what is basically a geologic blink of an eye, we're walking on the moon. So what happened? What was the big game changer? Well, the answer is both amazing and absurdly expensive.
And here it is. This is the core of the whole story. The human brain makes up just 2% of our body weight. Tiny, right? But it burns through a staggering 20% of our daily energy. Just think about that. It's a tiny little organ with the appetite of an absolute monster. And that one fact, that's the key to understanding our entire evolutionary journey.
Okay, so let's get into how this whole gamble came to be. We tend to think that getting smarter was this, obvious path to becoming the dominant species. But the truth is, it was a move born out of pure desperation. We didn't get smart because we were superior. We got smart because we were weak.
Let's be real here. If you look at us on the ancient food chain, we were not exactly impressive. We didn't have sharp claws, we didn't have bone-crushing jaws, we were slow, we were soft. Out there in the wild, we were basically walking appetizers. Our only real defense, our only competitive edge, was this brand new, high-cost piece of equipment between our ears.
And this is where it gets really wild. Look at this comparison. A reptile's brain sips energy, running on a lean 2% budget. Chimps, who are pretty darn clever, they spend about 9%. And then there's us. We're the CEOs in the corner office, demanding a full 20% of the entire company's energy budget every single day. We literally traded the ability to outrun a predator for the ability to complain about gas prices.
And if you think 20% is a lot, just look at what it takes to build one of these things. At 5 years old, a kid's brain is a metabolic black hole. It is sucking down almost half, 44%, of every single calorie they eat. The body basically has to pause all other construction projects because the brain is busy learning how to spell dinosaur.
So here's the bottom line. Thinking isn't something you just buy once. No, it's a subscription service, and it's the most expensive one in all of nature. It's a survival tax, and you have to pay it every second of every day, no exceptions.
So, how on earth did we pay this massive energy bill? Where did we get all those extra calories? Well, the answer wasn't in our bodies. It was in a discovery that changed absolutely everything. We basically found a loophole in biology.
And that loophole was fire. You can almost think of fire as our first external stomach. See, by cooking food, we started breaking down all those tough fibers and complex proteins before they even entered our bodies. We literally outsourced the hardest part of digestion to a campfire. We turned tough, hard-to-digest roots and meat into high-octane brain fuel.
And this kicked off a simple but totally revolutionary chain reaction. Cooking unlocked this massive surplus of energy that used to be spent just grinding away in our digestive system. And where did all those extra calories go? You guessed it, straight upstairs to fund the expansion of the most expensive and powerful organ in history.
Now, cooking didn't just give us more energy, it gave us something just as valuable, time. Our closest relatives, chimpanzees, spend 5 to 6 hours a day just chewing. That's their whole life. But because we cook our food, we spend less than an hour. And all that freed up time, that became time for making tools, for telling stories, for innovating. Time literally became thought.
And this created a whole cascade of changes. As our brains got bigger, our guts actually got smaller, about 60% smaller than you'd expect for a primate our size. Our jaws shrank, our teeth got smaller, but something else grew. As we sat around that external stomach, that campfire, sharing food, our social bonds got stronger. And it's very likely that this is where language really took off.
Okay, so now we have this incredibly powerful, super-fueled organ. We're on top of the world. But here's the catch. For all of its amazing power, the human brain is one of the most delicate things evolution has ever produced. It operates constantly on the absolute razor's edge of catastrophic failure.
Seriously, think of your brain as a high-maintenance diva. Unlike your muscles, it has no way to store energy. None.
It needs a constant, non-stop supply of fuel and oxygen, and it demands a perfectly stable, climate-controlled environment. There are no negotiations. If it doesn't get what it wants, it just shuts down.
Just how thin are these margins? Well, without a fresh supply of oxygen, you've got about 10 seconds. That's it. 10 seconds before the system starts to power down. There's no backup generator.
It's also incredibly sensitive to temperature. A fever, just a 2 degrees Celsius rise in your core body temp, and your thinking becomes impaired. Your neurons are like these delicate little soufflés. Get them a little too hot, and the whole thing just collapses.
And what about sleep? Well, if you go just 24 hours without it, your cognitive performance is pretty much the same as if you were legally drunk. See, sleep isn't rest for the brain. It's mandatory maintenance. It's when the cleaning crew comes in to scrub out all the metabolic junk that builds up during the day. No sleep, no service.
So all of this brings us to right now, to the present day. We have this amazingly powerful, yet incredibly fragile organ that evolved to survive in one kind of world, and now we've dropped it into a completely different one. And, the system is starting to show some serious signs of strain.
This quote just nails it perfectly. Our brains are basically running ancient hardware. Think of it as Pleistocene OS, version 1.0. That operating system was designed to handle short, intense bursts of physical danger, like, say, a lion hiding in the grass. It was never, ever designed to handle the 24/7 flood of emails, notifications, and social media alerts that is modern life.
So the predators have changed. They don't have claws anymore, they have notification pings. They don't have fangs, they have endless email threads. But to your ancient brain, a stressful email from your boss or seeing someone's perfect life on social media can trigger the exact same fight or flight response as a real physical threat. These are the new predators, and they hunt our attention and our peace of mind.
And this fundamental mismatch has created something we can call intelligence debt. It's that growing deficit, that gap between what modern life demands of us and what our biological hardware is actually capable of handling. And the interest on that debt, we pay for it with stress, anxiety, and burnout. And this table just lays it out so clearly. Back in the day, a threat was a short, intense burst. A predator appears, you either fight or you run, and then it's over. But today, the threats are abstract and they're constant. That dreaded reply all email triggers the same stress chemistry, but the threat never actually goes away. Our system just isn't built for a 24/7 state of alert, and the result isn't survival, it's burnout.
Which leads us to the ultimate, and maybe a little scary, evolutionary irony. The very same intelligence that allowed us to build this complex modern world might not be biologically equipped to survive in it.